So the Springboks, yet again, another victory at the Stade de France. Everyone was talking about revenge for the French. Guess what? The Springboks showed up big time, playing the second half with just 14 men. Siya Kolisi running out for his 100th cap. And then Scotland, so close against the All Blacks. Welcome to Omni Rugby. There's so much for us to talk about. The most important thing is we want to hear from you. Please feel free to join the conversation and share your comments down below. My name is Aaron Masamola, and today, given the victory at Stade de France, we decided to bring back rugby's know-it-all, Brett Burns. Welcome back, sir.
How's it? Make you sound like that I haven't been here for a year. It's only been a week.
I mean, we had to give you a grand opening. Hey, Jono, coach, analyst, former captain of the Blitz box. We call him Jono on this show. I think mom, dad, family, they call him
Jonathan.
Jonathan.
Yeah. Proper name. They didn't know something's coming.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. I had a good week. Good to have Brent back. It's been a while. In the studio, it does feel like we are away for a week. It feels like a year.
Yeah,
so that's why Aaron made different.
Exactly.
Thank you. I'll take it.
Gentlemen, I think let's start off with the big talking point. I mean, we all know that the Boks handled their business 32-17. You know the story, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Lood de Jager. First up, gentlemen, when I saw it, I thought it was a yellow card. At least, right? Given how low Ramos was. But I'm no expert. I want to talk to the gents this morning. Brett Burns. We know that he has been now banned for 4 games.
Yeah.
Cool. So, when you saw it, what did you think about that tackle from Lood de Jager?
Yeah, I thought basic it's going to be a off-field yellow card, off-field red, possibly. Because of the headshot, but because of so many mitigating factors, I thought possibly it might just stay a yellow card. But a straight red, not even a 20-minute red, that's like the harshest penalty for somebody that literally went down low, because we were watching the clip now earlier. When Lood went in, his head was already turned away, ready to make that tackle, because when he saw Ramos, he was still upright.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden he wasn't. And then obviously you're going to make head contact. But John Smits made a tweet where he said that if that's a red card, our game's in big trouble. So I feel the same way. Honestly, I do.
Yeah, look, I think the biggest thing for me about the whole situation is the fact that referees, and I've had numerous discussions with referees, they say that they feel they cannot judge intention. So what does it? So they have to go on what the law says. Now, again, if you look at or you listen to what we're saying that Lood's intention was never to injure or to go high. But the law says once you go to the head area, head neck area, it's always a danger zone. Now, the mitigation could be and can be that, Ramos was on his way down, Lood already launched and, kind of set into to make the tackle. But at the end of the day, referees look at the law. The law says you made head contact, and so therefore you start with the red and you take it from there. And for him, I think what made it even look worse is the fact when he launched, he didn't launch open arms. So he launched with that left shoulder, a little bit tucked. Now, again, it's a difficult because Lood is like 10 meters tall and Ramos is 1.1 meters. So by the time you had to shoot for hips or legs, it is hell of a difficult. And I think that made it a little bit difficult for Lood. The fact that left shoulder was tucked. Now, whether it was tucked because he reacted a little bit late or tucked because he went for the headshot, we don't know. Hence, from a referee perspective, it's a red card and it will stay that. However, let me say that. Where I don't agree is the consistency of the way the law is being applied. If you look at the previous week, the All Blacks Ireland match, Burn, the tackle he had on Barrett. Nothing happened. Yet he received a red card on the field. Nothing happened. So, and I understand, the safety of the player is of utmost importance. But at the end of the day, for me, it's about consistency that the referees is not applying at the moment. And that is where, guys like John Schmidt is feeling that, our game's in trouble because there's no consistency. If we had to say, every single time you go to the head, red card, we'll take it.
Yeah.
But there's this week that, this week that. So there's too many inconsistencies that makes the game a little bit uncertain.
A lot of people on social media were talking about there was somewhat of a bias against the Springboks. Would you agree, Bet Burns?
Yeah, it's a tough one because hear this. So when I used to wrestle, give you a little story. I used to wrestle. You used to train your neck for about 45 minutes before you actually get onto the mat to wrestle. You have to have a very, very strong neck because the way they throw you, you could break your neck. And I remember, I probably when I wrestled had the strongest neck in the world. Like I made tackles head on head or head on hip or whatever, and I wouldn't feel a thing. So when I say that, don't you think that rugby players now, to get away with the law, now I'm being a bit facetious here, but to get away with stuff like that, strengthen your neck to an extent of no return and just drop your head every time and try and make contact with his shoulder with your head? Because that's the consistency we're seeing here from the refs. Yes, like you just said, 1 week it's this, 1 week it's that. So it's play the laws, not the game, and then just go in head first, and hopefully you get a shoulder to the head, so that guy can get a red card, so you can have a penalty and win the game.
Yeah,
and that's quite an interesting viewpoint, because here's the other thing: Ramos didn't go off the field. Now, if that was so dangerous, why didn't he go off the field then? Or why didn't at least force him to go off the field as well? Because now it's consistent. You're saying this is a law, you've transgressed the law, you've made contact with the head, but the other player who's carrying the ball is still in the field. Doesn't make sense. I don't know.
Yo, so much for us to talk about in the comment section. Was that a red card? Yes or no? Yes, of course, we know the final verdict is he won't be playing 4 matches, 4 weeks out. But do you agree or do you disagree? Gentlemen, that red card led to the Springboks playing the second half with 14 men. Before we talk about that second half performance, we have to talk about the gentleman who was substituted at halftime. Siya Kolisi ran out for his 100th test match for the Springboks. How special was that moment? Brett Burns, I know that many South Africans got a little bit emotional. They were talking up that moment the whole of Saturday. And when it happened, I was sitting there and I'm like, wow. What a moment.
It was a very, very special moment. I'm so happy for the guy. I was one of the critics in his earlier parts of his Springbok career that said he's not the best Springbok flank at that point. And he's just gone on week after week to prove the whole country wrong, and with grace. Like, he's done it like a true gentleman, like not an in-your-face type of player. Thoroughly deserves to be 100 test cap and probably the most test Springbok captain going forward, which he thoroughly deserves. But I want to say he's a better person than I am, because to be subbed at halftime on your 100th test and to take it, like I just said, gracefully, 99% of men will not take it that well.
Yeah.
That was, and he did it with a smile on his face, like it's for the team, not for me. Like, I'd be like, this is my moment, flip and let me shine. Take somebody else off, take a hooker off, I don't care, you're not taking me off, I'm the captain, I deserve this. But and he did it like it was just a thing. So
and the beauty of that
him.
moment for me as well is the fact that, number one, he wasn't almost demotivated. He didn't go sit in a corner and sulk. It's almost like he became an assistant coach. He was like shouting instructions from the touchline, encouraging players, saying to Sasha, let's go. He used a few F words here and there, of course. But it's almost as though he became a motivator from the touchline. And Jono, you spoke about this. You said Siya Kolisi will probably go down as one of the most influential leaders in South African history. And him being substituted and then becoming an assistant coach and motivating the guys just spoke to that.
Yeah, and after last week, that perception of him will just go shoot through the roof. I think, again, like Brett just said now, I would have probably sat in the corner and sung. I promise you, because, again, it's your 100th cap special, and you actually don't get the recognition for it on your 100th cap, you're only playing 40 minutes. That doesn't sit like it with me. But it shows you the character of the man. It shows you the character of the coaches. Because, I felt that why not take a guy like Jasperov? But if you look at in the context of the match, Jasper was actually phenomenal.
Yes.
He was needed at the time. And so that just shows where this group of Springboks is. I don't know whether you guys saw after the match, Ergia and Eben carrying Siya.
Yes.
Now, I promise you, they know or they knew he was uncomfortable with being carried around and being made a hype, and that's why they did it.
He did look a little bit awkward. He's like, hey,
again, that shows the character of the man. It wasn't about him. It wasn't him wanting to get the light. They carried him around, making things uncomfortable in a funny way, and he enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And that shows the character of the group, firstly, and also the way they care for each other. Something that didn't sit well with me is the opening shot of Siya when he ran onto the field. It was very simple. The camera followed him out. He went on the field, goof gone. Think about how Richie McCaw made his 100th. Think about how Eben made his 100th. Think about how Willie made his 100th match. Think about how John Smith made his, played his 100th match. And that for me was almost like a disrespect to Siya from the French media or from the French producers, because they could have done a little bit more for him.
100%.
Yeah.
Because he deserves it. And especially with the way that he carries himself and he portrays the values of the game. I thought the French producers and the French directors could have done a little bit more for me. That didn't sit well for me. And so I think maybe that's also why Eben and Ergen maybe then decided, let's pick him up and let's carry him around the field.
Yeah.
Even though it's awkward for him, even though he doesn't want to be that guy, but I thought they could have done something a little bit better for him.
Previously on the show, you've mentioned that without Rassie, there's no Siya. And without Siya, there's no Rassie. Rassie was coaching his 50th game with the Springboks. And talk to me about just the maturity of a coach to make a decision like that. And also the brilliance of deciding to say, okay, cool, we've got Andre, he's a phenomenal player, but maybe we can convert him into a backline player and someone who can help out when the forward pack needs help. How brilliant is Rassie? Because so often we've spoken about his brilliance, but I think that game also showcased that, yes, he's a good coach, but he's also willing to make the tough decisions when they are needed. Because I'm sure he also felt a little bit of a sting because he loves Siya. All of us love Siya. But to take Siya off must have been difficult, Brett.
I think it's like a father-son thing with the two of them, because him taking Siya off is like a dad coaching his son, that I'll rather take my son off than some other disgruntled parent gets grumpy with me about that, about taking him off.
That.
Because they, like you said, they like this. The whole world can see it.
Yeah.
But what I like about their relationship is they make it a cultural thing in the team as a team.
Yeah.
It's not Coach Rassie and Captain Siya and the Springboks. It's the Springboks and that's it. And that's my favorite thing about this. I want to spend a week in a Springbok camp just to observe and see how they do this, how they run things. Because as an outsider, I always questioned Rassie, always, every single time. And yet every single time I'm wrong, because he just does things his way, and because he knows. Have you seen the movie Moneyball? Like how they take mediocre players, and just because his strength coincides with that guy's strength, with that guy, with that guy, with that guy, they end up winning this World Series. So I think that's the type of culture that they've built there. Like, it's you play for each other or you don't play at all. And I love that.
I love that.
The biggest thing I think that the advantage that they've got is no one is above the team.
Yeah.
Yes.
No one is above the team, bro. I promise you, I had the privilege of being there. And with Rassie also, the main thing will stay the main thing. What is that? On the field.
Yes.
So you can go out during the week. You can do your thing. He's not gonna babysit you or keep your hand and say you must be in at 11 o'clock. No. Go. But if you don't perform on Saturday, you are gone. You are gone. And so the biggest thing also with Rassie is he will outwork most of the coaches that's working with him. Promise you, when you sleep, he'll be busy working. When you're eating, he's busy working. And that's a kind of, I think, in most cases, if you see those kind of leaders, you're almost bound to just follow them. You know, because but this guy's working hard, so I must work harder. I don't want to disappoint this guy. And again, he's not shy to make the hard calls because he backs himself. He's got stats. And whatever decisions, even like with team selection coming up, I don't know. You know,
we're gonna get into that one.
I kind of think I've got something, but then I don't know. So that's the biggest thing where Russ is concerned. He'll make the hard calls, but he'll back it up with his work ethic and also the stats that he's got.
Gentlemen, let's move on to the Stormers Corner, an opportunity for us to shine a spotlight on the Stormers players that played for the Springboks. Of course, as you know, the segment is brought to you by Sports Pesa, where we definitely make it count. We have to start off with that 9 and 10 combination. Kobus Reinach, Sasha Feinberg, Ngomezulu. Brett Burns, that try from Kobus. That to me was vital. I even sent you a message and I'm like, look at your favorite player go, because to me, that try just ensured that the Springboks remain in touch in terms of the scoreline heading into that first half break.
Yeah.
How vital was that try from Kobus Reinach? And also, what did you make of his performance?
Well, obviously, I'm a little bit very biased when it comes to Kobus Reinach. Big fan. But the commentator said it best, because that's Oak's 36 years old, rolling back the years, playing like he's 26 years old. And I haven't seen a guy more hungry to stay a starter in a Springbok jersey than this guy. Obviously, we spoke about it a few weeks ago that the World Cup final must have been the most heartbreaking moment for him in his career. And now he's showing that, this is my time and I'm using it and I'm going to take it. And I don't care if I lose a limb while I'm doing it, but I'm doing this. However, I don't think he's going to start this weekend against Italy. I think they're going to change the halfbacks for this test coming up.
Bring in a little bit of Grant magic.
100%.
Maybe. Jono, you spoke about the dog, the haunt. I saw a little bit of that in Kobus. There was a moment when he scored that try and he got up and you could just see how much it meant to him. Your thoughts on his performance and how vital that try was from him heading into that first half break?
I don't think it was great. Neither do I think Shasha was great. I don't think our halfback pairing was as slick as they normally were. You know, take away Shasha's try. The kicks out of hand. He didn't find the touch. Kobus, take away Kobus' try. I don't know. I don't think they were as clinical as I have seen them previously to be. But I think it shows the class of the players when they not having the best performance, but still hanging in there, still keeping in there, looking for the opportunities. Because that try that Kobus scored, that is just individual brilliance.
Yeah.
And for me, I always, and maybe it's unfair of me, of me as a coach, because I always want to look for players to look for those opportunities.
Yeah.
Not just once, because there was a few times where they could have actually, picked around the breakdown. But, I think the character of those two players just shone when it needed to. I love Grant. I'm a ground fan because again, Grant's gonna serve, and then when you move, he's gone. Like in that try he scored, and I think for any 9, that's probably the best example of waiting for an opportunity, waiting for it until it presents itself, and then you got to take it. Because that was for me was phenomenal. It was absolutely phenomenal.
Coach, let me put you on the spot.
Do it.
Of course, we're recording this Thursday morning. The squad has not been announced yet. So, you are not happy with 9 and 10. Who are we bringing in?
It's a big challenge. It's a big challenge, and I'll tell you why. The Italians won last week. The tails are up. We're playing them in Italy. Do we change now this week? Because next week is Ireland. Or do we still go full strength team this week? Ireland, and you rather play your fringe players against Wales. I'm a little bit conflicted. Hence, if it was me, I would probably needed to get the rest of the management the input, because I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know how to handle this one.
Because also to me, I'm looking at that Ireland game, because there's no way they can lose this week. Like, there's no way. But to me, it's a matter of whoever you play in this game is possibly going to start in the next game. So if you're resting players, when do you rest them? Because I would say still go full out to a certain extent and prepare yourself for the Irish game. Brad Burns, rugby's know-it-all. How do you approach it? Because yes, we're playing Italy. Their tails are up. But in my mind, I'm like already in the following week. How would you approach it?
Yeah, I don't see Ireland as big a threat as most people are seeing, because I feel like a fly-off is a general, and I don't think the Irish have a fly-off that's a general. So I don't see them as the bigger threat that everyone is. So I would have gone with throw everyone that hasn't played yet in the starting lineup, have your very strong bench in case stuff goes south, like Peter Steff on the bench. I'd still have Kwacha on the bench. I wouldn't start him. I'd have either Pollard or Sasha on the bench, with Marnie starting, Grant starting with maybe Reinach, or keep Grant on as a 9 wing. So I'd have a weakened side with a very strong bench, and then for the Irish game, I'd have my stronger side and give them as much as we gave the French.
Okay. Gentlemen, let's move on to the betting segment, where we get to make a little bit of money. First up, the Springboks. They're taking on Italy away from home. So this is what the bookies are saying. Obviously, the bookies are saying that the Springboks are the favorites. It's 1.03, meaning that if you put down 100 Rand, you'll literally make just 3 Rand. So there's not a lot of money to be made there. It's quite an obvious result. However, if we do see an upset, the bookies are saying that from 100 Rand, you could make 1,000 Rand, which is quite interesting. And then if it's a draw from 100 Rand, you'll make 4,500 Rand. I think a lot of us would say this one is quite obvious.
Take the 3 Rand. Take the 3 Rand. Take the 3 Rand.
Gentlemen, who's winning this game and by how much?
Springboks definitely. 25 points.
Oof.
25 points.
Brad Burns.
Just because he always disagrees with me, I'm going to disagree with him, and I'm going to say Springboks by 26 points.
Oh, look at him.
Hey, I got nervous for a second there. I thought you were going to say that Italy might win this game.
Just kidding.
Gentlemen, before we head into the next set of odds that we have, right? The All Blacks taking on England this weekend. I wanted to roll back the tapes and talk about the game that we saw between the All Blacks and Scotland. What a game. From the start of the game, things were slowly but surely leaning towards the All Blacks. And then that second half performance, especially in the first 20 minutes, the Scottish showed up big time. Jono, last week you said that you are torn in two, and it showed until 60 minutes. It showed.
Yeah.
What went wrong for the All Blacks? Because yes, they won, but I think the All Blacks are not the All Blacks of old. They've got a lot of problems within that squad. Some would say the coach is not good enough. Some would say that the squad is not performing. Maybe they miss the international players that are playing in Japan. What's going on with that squad? Because to me, this is not a team that I know.
Biggest thing for the All Blacks, they don't have a tight 5. They don't have a tight 5 that can sit and give them a proper platform to attack from. Even with that, it's just, you look at the lock they just brought in now for last week's start. I think, he was okay. He wasn't great, but I didn't see him being the haunt. I didn't see him bringing
that
real
dog.
there was nothing. There was nothing. And so I think the quicker they realize that they actually need the players playing in Japan, playing in Europe, the better for them. Or actually not the better for them, because next year we're playing them on the tour. We know they must stay the way they did, or they stay the way they are, because I think if they keep on going the way they are, they're in for a bumpy ride. Scotland, I think at times they did well, but again, I thought the All Blacks just don't have a tight five. They just don't have guys who can muscle out and they can go to the dark place. I think and it's always been. For me, a guy like Ethan de Groot going 2-3 meter passes, no man. Yeah, you must be able to pass as a prop, but not 2-3 meters prop. Your job is go straight, go through the belly. Go to the belly of the beast and then you'll play. But when the prop starts throwing passes,
Brett Burns, Finn Russell, is he the guy? Clearly he didn't show up on Saturday.
Before I get into that, I actually want to thoroughly agree with you, because I thought that if Scotland kept their front row on for 10 minutes longer, it would have been a different story. I think they took them off too early. That front row of Scotland, without Xander Ferguson, was performing very well.
They were.
Very well. And you took them off, and then the very first scrum was a penalty against Scotland.
Yeah.
They needed 10 more minutes to just weaken that All Black side a little bit more. And maybe Finn Russell needed to take a step back and see that I'm obviously a target here. Let me just use my noggin for a change. Because he got sought out very early in the game, and that was his game done. So, no, Finn Russell is not the guy, but I don't think Razor is the guy for the All Blacks as well. I feel like the culture that he brings to the All Blacks is just, please win, please try and win, not win or take your stuff and go.
Yeah.
He's like, please
But
win.
who else? Who else is he?
Well, I can't give you an answer, because that's metaphorically. Because at this point, I just feel like the coach that he replaced could have stayed another 4 years.
Imposter.
Yeah, why not? Why not? He was on the up. Yes, he lost games that probably cost him his game, but he was still on his way up, and he tried different things every week. I mean, Razor is so predictable. I mean,
You remember that's the same guy who won Super Rugby for 8, 9, 10 years, eh?
Yeah, and Ackerman is the same guy that got the Lions to Super Rugby finals, and what he's doing at the Bulls. Same scenario. I don't.
No, you can't say the same. No, you can't be the same. No, come on, Brett.
No, I don't think Super Rugby and International Rugby is even remotely the same.
Should they bring back some of the players that are playing in Japan, like the likes of Richie
they can
Mo'unga?
try. They need a Richie Mo'unga.
He's coming back. Just by the way,
He is coming back.
Yes, but they need a replacement for Aaron Smith. Like, yes, he was probably the best passer in World Rugby, but he also had a mind that just, it's on a level on his own. He was, I rated him right up there with the Furida Priya. Like the way he could think, like 2 steps forward. They don't have that now. They're throwing in a new 9 every single week. No, not for me.
Gentlemen, the All Blacks, the team that's clearly struggling, they're taking on England this weekend. The bookies are saying that the All Blacks are the slight favorites. It's 1.99, meaning that if you put down 100 Rand, you'll get back almost double, 99 Rand. And then England, it's 1.83. If you put down 100 Rand, you'll get back 83 Rand. And if it's a draw from 100 Rand, you'll make 2,400 Rand. Gentlemen, according to the bookies, this one is close. The All Blacks have a slight advantage. Jono, where are we making a little bit of money?
Woo! Difficult one, this one. This one,
a tough one.
This one's also going to go down to the wire. This one's going to go down to the wire. But I think I also don't see England's got a massive tight five. But the All Blacks, for me, has got a few more players or more players that can create something out of nothing. Hence, I'm going to go with the All Blacks. All Blacks by 10.
10.
10 points. Yeah, 10 points.
Brett Burns, rugby's know-it-all.
I've got the actual opposite. I don't think it's going to be even by 10. I think the winner will be within 3 points. But I'm going with England to win this one, just because I'm giving Twickenham the home field advantage, and the grind out that they had last week, and the lack of discipline that the All Blacks had last week, I think is going to lean towards England's favour.
Fair.
Last game on the cards, Sports Pesa. We're making a little bit of money, making it count, of course. Argentina taking on Scotland. Scotland, of course, being clapped a little bit in that last 20 minutes by the All Blacks last week. The bookies are saying that they are the favorites for this one. It's 1.6, meaning that if you put down 100 rand, you'll make 60 bucks. And if you put your money on Argentina, you'll make 238 rand. And if it's a draw, you'll make 2,200 rand. Gentlemen, Argentina, Scotland, Brett Burns, you are good at your betting.
And predictions.
And predictions. Where we're making a little bit of money, sir.
Yeah, so now you guys are going to think I'm crazy.
Senior van Rensburg.
Yeah.
Give us something.
So I'm going to be that guy, and I'm actually going for a draw. I called this...
A draw?
I called this on my
No way.
on my other app where you predict stuff, and I think... Like, I try to weigh up different options and who's doing what and what. And I think it's either going to be a 1-point win either way or a draw. So I'm going to go for the draw.
Yo, I know, Brett Burns. A draw.
People often when I'm right, I bring back this image. I told you so.
Okay. Jono, are you as some would say crazy as Brett Burns to predict that draw?
Nah, I'm going to go with Argentina. Argentina by 5.
Argentina by 5.
That's also going to be tight. It's going to go down to the wire. But I think Argentina should because for me they've got a better tight 5. Their mauling is better. So Argentina by 5.
Argentina by 5.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, before we leave, I've never done this before on the show. I want to do it right now.
Wow.
Okay.
The squad has not been announced. Jono, we'll start with you, coach.
I said
Give me. That's what I've started with you.
Okay.
The starting 15 for the Springboks.
Jeez.
From 1 to 15. Let's go.
I'll probably, if need be, go with Bowen again. Bowen, Venter. I'll give Johan Grobler a shot. I'll keep Thomas de Toey. The locks, maybe make a change there. Have Eben maybe a rest this week. If RG start with Nortje. Loose forwards. I'll get back to that. But I'll let Siya play another one. Siya will be there. Ben Jason Dixon maybe. Give him a run. Maybe even Marco van Staden at 6. He hasn't played on this tour. 9, 10 will be Grant and Mani, Esterhuizen, Kanan Moody or Ethan Hooker, depending on how Rassie feels. And your 15 will be Damien with Kirtley or whoever is not part of the or Chesland, depending on how they feel.
Coach.
Yeah.
Coach, we are going to try again next week. And I'm going to keep you accountable.
Yeah.
There were a lot of maybes there.
Yeah, maybe.
Next week, we need a definite squad.
A definite maybe.
A definite squad. Brett Burns, don't be like Coach. Please give me your definite starting 15.
I agree with, I think Buan will get another chance because I feel like he had a week now to work on reason why he got taken off. I think Marks will start for the continuity. You need somebody like with a leadership role right up front. I would have given Wilco over Thomas.
Fair.
For that Italian scrum is probably their biggest strength at this point. So you need like an anchor. I agree with your locks. I think Argia and Nortje was probably the best player off the bench this weekend. So I think he deserves a start. Probably Siya again, just to make up for, listen, we took you off, so have another one. I agree with Ben Jason Dixon. I think probably Kwacha at 8. I think that I agree with you at your halfbacks.
Finally.
I do, however, think that Pollard will start over Mani and Mani off the bench again. Centers, probably Andre Esterhuizen and Moody. I agree there. And my wings, I don't know. I can't give you a definitive answer because Van der Merwe hasn't played a game yet. So I think that maybe bring...
You're the coach.
But even if he does, he hasn't scored against South Africa. He's not scored against South Africa. To one Van der Merwe. He's not scored.
No. I'm actually talking about Edwil van der Merwe.
Oh, yeah. The other Van der Merwe.
Yeah, Edwil and maybe Kirtley with maybe Colby at fullback again.
Okay.
Possibly. That's my team.
That's actually not a bad back three. Bliksem.
Solid team, gentlemen. Gents, thank you so much yet again for joining us on Omni Rugby. Do you agree? Do you disagree? And what's the issue there at the All Blacks? Is it the coach? Richard Mwanga is apparently coming back next year. How can we fix that situation to get back that rivalry that we used to have between the Springboks and the All Blacks? Thank you so much for joining us on Omni Rugby, and we would love to get your thoughts in the comment section down below.
Okay, bye.
Ciao, ciao.